Hey everyone, Renegade here with some more Let's Play Baduk Go, whatever. I have it called Baduk in the title now, or maybe I do. I might change it again for branding, but nobody's watching anyways. But whatever, I enjoy these. So I guess I'm doing reviews as just like whole things now instead of start of videos, just because I get into them so much, and that's fine. So less to talk about. Probably not as much as last time, but we'll see. Maybe if I'm more embracing just getting into this as its own thing, it might end up longer anyways. So black starts with a 3-4, that's fine. I start with a 3-4, and I also think this is kind of a mistake. Not as big of a mistake as if I just, play over here like I did last time or whatever. Although, this one might be okay. No, actually, if I was going to do this one, I would do this one. Still not good because black can still play over here. I was thinking about maybe the direction of this 3-4 mattering. Not really. It's kind of bad no matter what. But anyways, I played over here, and I think this is bad. Mm, wrong corner prevent good black enclosure. Yeah, it's probably generally speaking not that bad because if black plays over here and then I just play here, black's going to be able to get this, which I've talked about how I don't like this or this. It's just a lot of black potential. I just don't like giving black all this early. I've talked about this before. So even though it's probably fine, I personally am considering it a personal mistake that I gave the potential for this to happen. It didn't end up happening because black decided to go for a cross Hoshi game, but I should have played this one so that if black, plays over here as expected or whatever, then I can do whatever I want in the fourth corner, and I don't have to worry about black getting a beneficial like come in on my 3-4. So black goes for the cross Hoshi. I spent a little bit thinking about if there's like a preferred way to play his 3-4 here, but I don't think so. I think it's pretty minimal because he's like everything's a 3-4 at this point, so they're all kind of equal value enclosures. And both of these are like low facing this side, so it doesn't really matter which way this stone's facing, I suppose. But black goes for the big enclosure. That is a normal thing. I've checked that is like a Joseki thing they'll like do. I'm more used to the closer enclosures, but should be fine normally. Maybe in Cross Hoshi, it's probably either better or worse to do enclosures like that. In Cross Hoshi, my gut says it'd be worse because you want solid territory more, and these are going more for influence, but I might be wrong. So I go for more of the solid enclosure. Another idea here, I didn't write it down as a mistake, but I could have done this because that keeps this 3-4 low and it works together with this. And if he tries to do something similar, he's like got a lower thing going on than my thing, which is higher. Granted, he's still got two stones over here because he's black and he moved first, but that's an idea. I don't think it's wrong to set this up though, because if black's already going for something big, I want to be able to theoretically match it. Mistake. Approaching and closing unsettled 3-4 stones is worth more, and as a large extension, it's also facing the wrong side of your 3-4 stone. Yeah, this is definitely a mistake, I would say. Like, there's still, like, two corners to do stuff with, for one thing. But also, when he goes here, it's not putting much pressure on these. I have an obvious pincer. But also, if I go over here, like, make a big extension over here, you'd normally want to, like, counter that extension. But then if I could even, like, extend extension first or whatever, I don't know, just as an example, and you might like counter extension, and then I could pincer and make this stone really uncomfortable. So just in general, coming on this side, the only reason I do it really is that it works with this stone, but it doesn't even really work with this stone because it's low. So it just seems like a bad move in general. And yeah, if he was gonna do like this is also just generally a better move for so many reasons because like this corner is already enclosed, and this is working with a low stone. Whereas here, this corner is not enclosed, and it's working with a high stone, and it's like the beneficial side. There's so much better about doing this instead of coming over here. So I pincer. He comes out. I make a sort of fourth line base. I know bases would normally be on the third line, but it's probably fine. It's putting some extra pressure on this black stone. I thought it was maybe iffy because like black might just be able to take this time to, I don't know, do something like this. I guess I'd be able to still undercut this. Like, how pressured is this group really versus this group is a question. Would it have been better to just make a move over here first? I don't know if this would be better because, like, generally when I pincer, I want to protect my pincer stone in some way. It was a little awkward in this case, but I think it's a fine move. And black kept going with these stones anyways, which is, I guess, kind of expected. So I blocked. The block here does make this stone a little inefficient, but not really, because it gives me an excuse to jump up here early, whereas otherwise I could be more easily undercut. So I still found a way to kind of make use of this stone, because that's the one thing is that blocking here kind of makes this stone less good. But because the stone is enclosed, like it acted as an enclosure, which meant he didn't have as good of an approach in the first place. So even though you could argue this makes me over concentrated, I think that the move that he did to lead me into this position is already him in a bad position, so it's probably fine. Mm. And that's like really big level thinking. The idea of, oh, it's a bad move because it makes a different move bad in retrospect. That's pretty high level thinking. So he goes there. I block. He pulls back. I read out that the cut here was fine, so I played on this side. This is fine. Originally, I thought maybe this is a mistake because he can, like, come in here, but no, it makes better use of this stone, really, because he can't, like, fully come in here, and he should block this off. There's merit to coming on the other side if I want to give more life to this. The problem with that, though, is that he's got an easier way to jump down to here, and I have a lot of potential here because of these stones, so I don't want to give him that. So, like, I think it works out kind of the same either way, essentially. Either I come up from below, which means this group is going to have to struggle a little more, or I come from above, which means this group has an easier time, but he can also have an easier time coming down here, because it's easier for him to live if he jumps down here than it is for him to live coming up here. So I think it's somewhat equivalent, maybe. I stretched, which is maybe like the reason to come up here instead, is that I'm less incentivized to do anything else with this stone if he connects. I'd rather make a big move over here maybe. I'd probably follow up with something like that. But I came below, which means I'm really incentivized to go another one, because if he gets a turn, he can still theoretically threaten to get some big black stuff here. So I think the extension is important here if I did do the first white stone here, but like maybe this is just better for me because I'm forcing him to crawl a bit, maybe making potential here, making a group here, and this group still, if he's going to take time to jump down here, like if he takes time to, come down here or whatever, then this stone is really in trouble. So maybe this whole formation would have been better. Maybe, but I don't think the way I played yet is a mistake. The mistake is coming up. I definitely did make a big boo-boo, but I think for now this is okay. There's definitely a big threat here, but he can't really worry about this because his group is still kind of cramped right now, which was my thinking. And so yeah, he does jump out. My group is still fairly flexible because there's still a corner I can lean on. And I do kind of go over there. I will say that because he did this, this is less desirable. This group is a little more cramped now, so I want to do something more with it. Whereas if I had come from the other direction, this would have been really good, and he wouldn't have really been able to, attack me from the top. Whereas with the situation we were in, because this move, I wanted to do this move so bad, but once he came up here, it just looked bad. So I did this, which was, it gives him better stuff here, but that's the sacrifice I made really by saying I would take all this, which is why the more I think about it, the more I think that just coming on this side to let me do this press down here probably was correct. Still small, I think, relatively. That big enclosure, though, that's probably wrong. This enclosure is too loose when there's so many white stones nearby. Yeah, I'm not, a master at these Josekis or whatever, but I feel like it's a mistake to go for, like, these big enclosures are more for influence and less for territory. That's the theory behind them, right? Like, if you want to do the most safe enclosure, you go here. And he went all the way out here. And, like, this isn't even a big threat on these stones. That's the other thing, is that if you want to do a safe enclosure, you'd go here. If you want to do an enclosure that maybe threatens my stones a little more, you might even go something like here, just to do a bit of an attack on these stones, possibly. But going out here doesn't attack my stones at all, and it's a bit loose, and my stones are here already, so the value of this influence is lessened. And yeah, I think this move here coming here is like, I end up doing this move eventually anyways. This press down. Now, of course, it probably would not have worked out that, like, because he has this extra stone here, of course, it's not as good, but I still ended up getting in that, this press down move, and it gives extra life to this group. So this extension was bad. Yeah, because these are kind of forcing moves, and this is a forcing move too, I would say. I looked at the AI evaluation, which I tend to be careful when looking at AI evaluations. I generally take them with a grain of salt. I usually just look at them to see if there's any critical moves that I maybe missed or critical ideas. But I don't use their evaluations to mean much. But it did say that apparently this move was bad here, which I think in the AI's opinion is just, oh, this group is fine. I should be playing away. But like I'm not great at living in small spaces, so I think from that perspective, this move is fine. And again, I'm only guessing why the AI thought that way. I don't know for sure, but so I make my enclosure here. This is maybe wrong. Like it's the last corner, so I feel like it's right, but this enclosure might be small. Like this might be a case where going for a bigger one might be better. Like I've got influence here, whereas his influence here is lessened, because he's more facing this direction. And in addition, like he's poking out in this direction, and if he gets a turn in here, this influence can it's like it blocks him off from getting too far here, and I'm not maybe making territory here, but I block him from making territory, or that kind of thing. I don't know if this kind of thing is correct at all. Like there's maybe something here, but this can be undercut because of the black stones over here. Um, but if the other idea is just jump over here, maybe make this group crawl for a bit. But I felt like this is alive enough. The 3 stones is generally a good bit better than 2 stones. Maybe. And also, maybe I could have just come down here. This is a big point. This between these two groups, this is a very big point. But I thought going for the last corner was better. So I think this move is fine. Though, the more I look at it, I think I would have liked this better. This is the worst of the 3 large extensions. White has more potential with both other extensions. Yeah, this is definitely a mistake, I'd say. Because if you think about it, now that I've played this extension, there's basically 3 major places to play if you're not going to, continue an existing area. Black could play around here, black could play like around here, or black could play where black played. This is the worst one by quite a big margin, I would say. Because if black plays here, black is getting a big extension on, this enclosure that already exists, which is pretty great, and preventing this, which is very big, from becoming very, very big if it jumps over here first. So this is probably the biggest one. Then this one, black's low here, so he doesn't care as much about this, but white has a lot of good potential here. So like this is, and also white's kind of like there's a sneak in here from black potentially on the top here, which maybe devalues this one a little bit. So I think an argument can be made for both of these extensions. But this one that he made is definitely the worst one because my potential, I'm low on this direction. So my potential here is already bad. Your potential here is also bad because I have these white stones that'll get in the way of much influence here. So this is the worst extension. I can say that pretty objectively. Big mistake. Slow. Black is an obvious response that claims more for black than I end up getting if I decide to defend. Yeah. All right. All right. This is the big boo boo for me. Like I make like kind of another boo boo, but like it all sort of starts with this boo boo. This is probably the only big mistake I make in the entire game, I'd say. But it's a big boo boo. And so the thinking here, my thinking with this move is, oh, I'm gonna get all this, and sure, my black guy gets some of this, but I can maybe pressure this group. And yeah, I could maybe pressure this group, but like he's getting a lot here, and black's gonna live. He's out. It's gonna be too hard to pressure him at this point, I think is the problem. Because that was my thinking in the moment was, oh, black will get this stuff, but I can like attack this group, but it's not really good enough, I would say. In a cross Hoshi game especially, like this much territory, that's the other thing, is it's cross Hoshi. So if we can get a bunch of territory, we should take it. And black already has the extension here, which is the other thing that makes this so valuable, is that when black plays here, which is probably close to the perfect move, like, what do I do? Do I split? I'm like already boxed in. Black can come in here pretty easily because I'm up on the 5th line. So black can just come in here if he wants. I have to like maybe run out to make sure I'm okay. Black could keep coming in to value all this territory. This might not be the right way to play it, but Like, I really want to, like, split this or something, and that's probably correct, but it's not even great. Because if I, like, just defend or kick or something, and black pulls back or something, like, black might even, I don't know, like, black is getting more out of this than white is getting, I would say. And I was the one who made the slow move here to set this up. I really should have probably went straight for this because black has so much potential here too. Like if black didn't have as much potential here, this move becomes a bit better because like if black blocks, I can split more easily, more comfortably. But because black already has all this potential here, if I come in the middle, he can harass me a lot, and I didn't want that. But I also didn't want to just give him all the territory. So I'm like, okay, I'll come up here with thinking that, okay, you can get this territory, but I come after this group. But it doesn't really work because this group is safe enough. Later on, it becomes less safe. But for now, it's fine. It's got a view to the outside. I don't gain that much by attacking this group right now. This is just giving him too much. So, yeah, this is the other big mistake. Doesn't put enough pressure on Black's group. It's kind of just a follow-up to this initial mistake, though. I definitely should have just played something out here, really. But, and then if he tries to, like, come in or do something like this, then it's much easier to be like, okay, are you going to come out? Oh, okay, then can I come in here kind of thing? Something like this. And then maybe he connects up, but I can get something over here. Oh, and these stones are in danger. And then I probably play this whole thing out. I don't know. I would get more, and these stones have a pretty secure territory, even if it could get bigger, you know. I'm thinking big, but I gotta think of what my opponent's obvious response is, and that's the problem, is that black has a really obvious response right here, so. I go up, black does this looks really bad, so I'm like, oh, change of plans, I was gonna go after this, but there's too much here. Because if I go after this or something, because that was my thinking, is I'll go after this, but like, if I go after this or do whatever I do, it's got enough wiggle room, and like he could come up here, and I like realize that, and I'm like, oh no, that would be really bad. I gotta get in there, and I can't just crawl on top because then he can still do something like this, and this is just too much, and these white stones aren't doing anything, and even attacking now is not good enough. So, this initial thought with this initial move here, big mistake, biggest mistake in the game, I would say. Um, this is a pretty big mistake too. This is like committing to this idea I have when I placed this stone, I guess. But it was a bad idea in the first place, and I shouldn't have committed to it. I really should have done this, and I would have been unhappy about it. But this is probably the correct move: is just to split this stone. He's gonna come in here, whatever. That was my bad for placing this stone here in the first place. Like if I was gonna do this, maybe even just coming one lower. This makes this split more effective because he can't easily come down here. Anyways, I made a mistake, capitalized. I followed up on the mistake with a further mistake, pulled back. I did this. Basically, I'm trying to make sure that these white stones do something. I think there's a merit to that. He connected, and then I come over here. If my goal is to split black, move like oh 04 be better. At this point, I am like floundering a little. These black stones should be fine, but if I do want to split, yeah. Which ultimately ended up being the idea I ended up going with, is that I just wanted to split these groups, keep them separate, make them have to work separately, makes their lives harder, rather than if they connect, which for that case, this is definitely better. Because when I went here, he went here, which makes it really hard to split these at this point, and that's still what I tried to do ultimately, was split them. Like I either wanted to split this off or split this off. But splitting this off is harder. I initially expected that he might block from this direction, to be honest, and I was gonna like, come down or something to make sure they were split, but he didn't do that. He came here, which makes a lot of sense. It's probably correct. It's like connecting his group. It's making this really big, and this one white stone can still jump in this direction. So if I threaten, and even if he doesn't like respond, he can still like come out here, and these will probably be alive by themselves. And these white stones, where are they going? So yeah, if I was gonna plunk a stone there, I thought I was looking at two weaknesses, was my thinking. But like he can block one, and then the other one takes a couple moves to exploit, which means it's not really doing anything. I just should have solidly split. And like he can probably lean on me, maybe, I don't know. And he's probably okay, but like, he's got plenty of room down here, but I don't know how it would all go. But in the meantime, he'd get a bunch over here. It's still bad. It's bad for me. It all comes from this initial mistake over here. But This is probably not the best way, unless you use the argument that I realize I'm losing, and therefore I want to make aggressive moves, but I don't think it's time for that yet, because I've still got a bunch of potential here. So if my thinking is I'm losing, do something aggressive, it's too early for that. I really need to play a move like out here, if that's my thinking, before I make moves like that, I would say. Of course, if I make a move like this, black can make something like this. But then if I get something like this, this starts to become pretty good for white. So really, I probably should have turned my attention and done something like this as soon as, like, I saw this threat, but I should have been looking at my own potential threat I could have set up, really. Something like this. And then if black comes and does something like this, and then I get something set up like this, this looks pretty good too. And even if I'm losing potentially, because black has like a look in here, so this is less, and so maybe he has more overall. I don't know, but yeah, it's hard to say so far. If black makes enough slow moves, I never have to do anything aggressive and stupid. So I should think of this like move as similar to an invasion type move. Like it's a reduction type move, but I'm trying to do it aggressively. Is clearly the idea here, right? Because if it's not aggressive, then I just should be claiming more territory. So, it's not a great move. I try to come in, he blocks me. My thinking, like, because my initial thinking when I placed that move is, oh, he'll block me for sure. And I think there's merit to blocking this way, for sure. He can live independently with this group too. I was just trying to keep them split. Maybe him trying to stay connected was even a mistake. I don't know enough. I think that the way he blocked me probably was wrong, because he's making this heavy, and I can maybe like jump over here and say, okay, now you definitely want to connect. And then I can do that, and it's also an extension on this. It's an idea I could have thought of. Again, I was still in the mindset of, oh, I got to reduce this. I got to reduce this. But I think I had enough potential over here that maybe once he did this move, it's probably wrong, and I shouldn't have kept coming down. I looked at it like it was kind of free, but not really, because each move I make down here and each response he makes to me like makes this weaker. And so the sooner I jump, and do something over here as like a connection that also threatens to make a lot here, the better, I would say. I didn't even write this down as a mistake, but this move, but it might be, maybe. Just looking at this now, because I thought like, oh, the mess up in the fight was later, and this is all the problem of what came from here, and I think that's kind of true, but there was better stuff I still could have been doing. And so black blocks me off there. This is a mistake. This block off here is a mistake, I would say. This cut is too juicy. I think black like connects, and if I come in, he just goes over here, he makes a base, and he's fine. Like he's split, but that's fine. And I wanted to split him. My whole goal was to split him, so I would have succeeded in my goal. But I think he is better off there, to be honest. Because when he does this, I do have a pretty obvious cut. And this split is more dangerous than this split, because like he's got white stones in this direction. So there's also maybe something to this idea. Maybe. It's kind of awkward. Um, it's awkward. Like white, black, and I looked at this line. I read it out a little bit, and I thought, it's not good enough. But there might be some awkward fighting here. And I might try to catch these stones. He might try to fight back. I don't know. There's awkward fighting here, and I don't think it works out well for me, but maybe it does. It's kind of complicated, so I think there's nothing wrong with coming in this direction. This is moved to prevent him from connecting. I think in that sense it's good. That's good. He wants to stay out if he's because he can still jump in here, but if I blocked him off completely, he would definitely need to strangle himself a little bit more, and it potentially, it cuts me off. So this is a very good move for him. I have to connect too. That's Sente. He comes up. This is another mistake. This lets black build while putting pressure on my group. 07's bears. It puts pressure on black's group. It makes it harder for black to build solid territory. Yeah. So at this point, I'm committed to these stones. Like if I had a move up here already, it'd be so nice. Because now these white stones are more boxed in, because as the black stones run out, these become more cramped. Which is why way back here, when he does this, if I just do this, like if he starts coming up now, this is a dangerous split. But like back, when we go back to, not here, we go back to the real game, because in my efforts to like split him off here, he's split me off, and his split is really more dangerous than my split. It's a good bit more dangerous than my split. Um, and so the reason I played this stone was the idea of, oh, I have three spaces. This is like the key point. And that's kind of true. But in this situation, it's not because he's got a weak group over here. So I should lean on that group. By playing here, I'm taking more advantage of this group's weakness. And also, he can't build as easily. Because you see what happens is that when I play here, he plays here. He gets a simple knight's move here. This is taking away a bit from the big extension that I really wanted to make. Ultimately, I do get on this side later. But I could have like potentially tried to get on this side earlier, and now it makes it really hard to get on this side. I still end up getting on that side, but my opponent makes some mistakes. But this is really good for black, and I'm more cramped now. Whereas if I had just played this, black could have done this, but I'm less cramped. It's easier for me to get out. So yeah, and that should be my focus right now is getting out. Instead, I got aggressive and I played this. From the perspective of, uh-oh, I'm losing, I hope black makes a mistake so I can get out of this cleanly. This move is good, but from the perspective of, do I think this will work? This move is bad. This doesn't work. I need to get out a bit more. Now, if black does something like this and I connect, then this move dies for me. And I think I saw that, and so I wanted to take the move as quickly as possible. And from that perspective, again, if I realize that it's not good, but maybe he'll fuck up, then it's good. But, you know, if I thought this would actually work, I hoped it would work. It doesn't really work. Yeah, so I should have come out a little bit more first. And if he extended once, which is what I was afraid of him extending and just claiming more of this territory. That's why. And, you know, this would not have been a problem if I had jumped over here. If he claims more of this territory, like, he can do that now, but there's not as much pressure on this group. Actually, I went too far, so hold on. I went here, he went here, I went here. And he can still do this, but there's not as much pressure on this group, and it's much easier now to do this. And actually, is that, yeah, that's still correct. And then he might try to, what does he do? Oh, that is the one problem with, the one thing that's bad about the move being here is that I'm not fully connected. Can he cut me off? Yeah, he can cut me off here. So that is the one thing that's better about the way I played it, actually. The better thing about this move is that I can come in here, actually. So from that perspective of, oh, I'm losing, let's get aggressive, this move is actually better thinking about it. Because it means that ultimately I'm still connected when I aggressively go after this. So I didn't think about that when I was reviewing the game with text. That's true. Because this line, yeah, I'm like, he can push in and cut off my connection. Whereas I had a stone here already before, so I was pre-connected. Still, though, you know, even in the version I did, though, it was wrong to go after the group. When I did, I really should have extended up once, and then I play this move. And using that logic, if we use that logic, like he's caught. And, oh, well, you can cut me too. But, counterpoint, that's bad. Oh, he still gets away, huh? He still gets away even if I have an extra stone? He connects. I block him. He cuts me. Well, the idea is that I should watch that move to see if it becomes good. But it had not become good yet. So, I came in prematurely. He sent me that way. He connected. I cut him off. He ataried me up. He connected again. I came in here. This is like the only thing I can really do at this point, but it doesn't work. Unless black does this. Big mistake. You box white in with P8, and even though white can box you with O8, you win the capture race pretty easily. Yeah, so this move starts a fight that I should lose. Like this white move right here, this fight, I shouldn't win this fight. You know, I thought, like I said, what's the damage even in the real game? Because I thought I was losing by too much. And I don't think I was losing by that much at this point. I think I definitely could have made it up elsewhere, but that was my mindset at the time. And from that perspective, I guess it was fine to do this, but I definitely could have set it up better in the first place. So after he connects, I don't want to get cut off, so I do this. And my thinking was, oh, I can escape out up here or through here, and black might have seen that too. But no, I can escape up here. That's definitely true. And, black, this is bad for black, that's for sure. And if black tries to, like, cut me off there, I'll just do this. And that's a double Atari, so black can't do that. So sending me up is definitely wrong. But black doesn't have to send me up. Black can just send me this way. And I'm screwed. I can come down, but there's just no room. There's no room to make any eyes here. I could cut him off, but, like, black has a bunch of room to run still. I have no room down here. Like, these don't go anywhere. They die faster than these do. And that might be what black was, like, thinking about is, oh, if I try to cut him off this move, he cuts me off. My group needs life, but my white group also needs life. And, like, if I make this cut immediately, I'm definitely screwed. And even if I come down first, even if I come down first and I don't make the cut, well, you can just connect. And maybe I can jump out, but even then, do I jump out? So, and if I come down, you can even do this. And then if I cut, it's still not good for me. And so, yeah, he needed to block me like that. I was just going to die, really. And his stones had plenty of room to run. And yes, they're not alive yet, but they'll be alive when you kill these stones. Because my stones are easier to kill than your stones are. So black needed to box me in. Black did not box me in. Black went up here, tried to get out, didn't want to get boxed in. That's a big mistake. There are some cases where it's better to not kill, where it's better to just get out. But this is not one of those cases, because this group, like, it's splitting you, and once it gets out, you've got, like, more cuts than I do, as I guess the way to put it. And also, if this group gets out and gets on this side, it works with these white stones really well. So boxing this grouping and killing it is good for a lot of reasons, beyond the fact that also it's just really big. He still has another chance, though. You can still box white in P9, it's messier, but it still works. Yeah. So if black comes up here, I'm still boxed in. If I try to do this, black pulls back. I have to connect, and then black does this, and I still don't go anywhere. If I try to run, black cuts me off. White can cut me, but these stones, they can just do this. You can go here. Black has room to run. These white stones, again, still don't go anywhere. I'm building some white stuff over here in the meantime if he does do this and kill these stones, but it wouldn't be worth it. The exchange would not be worth it. And if I come on this side and black comes down, these stones are basically connected, right? If I want to try to disconnect them, I essentially have to come down here, right? But it still doesn't work. If white comes down, he's still connected. And then if white comes over here, the ladder doesn't work because I immediately have to run. And then black can come here. And does this work? No, this ladder still gets broken. So, yeah, black still gets out. Black still boxes me in here. Black's connected over here, so these white stones are still dead. It's messier. This is messier than just, blocking me immediately at P8. But the P9 block still works. So I cut off the connection. I didn't write this down as a mistake, and that's because I think that the way I'm doing things at this point, I'm committed to not doing this. If I assume black's going to box me in, black would have boxed me in here, right? But in reality, I should take this now. Because black can get out, and that's really good for black if black gets out. That makes me struggle a good bit. But even though that's true, like, I think I'm committed at this point to cutting black off, because if I take this and black gets this, then I have to run with this group. Or this group might get killed, because this group is now getting cut off. I guess I could play that, but black can play something like this, and then, like, that's bad, and then black takes these stones, and, like, sure, these stones are out, and maybe this is big, and this is maybe good enough even, but maybe it's good enough. I just don't tend to... I don't tend to see those lines as much of, oh, I'm going to lose a bunch of stones, but it's good in the long run. In this case, that might have been true. But, and I think it technically is, because black can still block me off here. So I think it is better for me to just, come up here and make this move now. But in the moment, I just did this. which is probably a mistake, but I think it's fine because black clearly missed the good idea in the first place. And in that perspective of I want to get a bit more ahead, it works. The psychological thing. So I blocked that off from connecting. I really didn't want to connect. He tries to cut me here. He's taking advantage of a weakness. This isn't necessarily a mistake. Setting up some cuts for later for Aji for co-threats. However, when black extends, this is definitely wrong. Like, this setup is fine. Like, I had to play a move here or something, because otherwise, if I didn't have this stone here, I would extend and die. And I wanted to protect my stones, so I played this here. I think at this point, black should just come back and play here. I'm still blocked off. I still don't get out. These stones still die. And yes, white loses this black stone or whatever, but, like, I have to spend a move to take it, right? Or I have to spend a move to take this stone. Like, there's still Aji here, and it ends up biting me in the butt later that there's this much Aji running around. But I should definitely, like, I can make some territory here. I probably go back to bullying this group at this point, is what I would do to make this group bigger. I think there's definitely merit there. But, yeah, black should not be running out this stone, that's for sure. Those stones can't escape. And I also should probably still be doing this. Like, this is big. Saving this group is huge. Because black can do this and take these stones. But this was the loss in the other variation, too. Was him taking these stones. I can, like, force him to take the stones. And then I can come up here and connect. If black tries to cut me, I'll just be like, okay, take them. Okay, take them. Okay, take them. And then I might come down here. And then I've got a bunch of potential over here. And it's probably a losing game for me, most likely. But again, it's like making the best of a bad situation. However, from the perspective of I want to win, I hope my opponent makes mistakes, it is correct to play the way I'm playing, I guess. Because I definitely capture these stones. This does set up some Aji for later, but this was a really bad move. Not Sente, so you lose your last chance to box white in. Yeah, this was a really bad move. If the idea behind this move was, oh, it gives life to this group in case I get boxed in, don't think that way. Just come out. If that's black's thinking is, oh, I give some life to this group, that's bad. If black, wanted to set something like that up, it's too early for that. It doesn't really do much. Maybe black's thinking is, I need more life down here because I lose the capturing race. No, that doesn't make sense either because black can still get out. So, I think black thought there was some big threat with these stones. There wasn't. There's really no threat here. There's there's co-threats. There's Aji. He can use this in some ways. But as an immediate threat, there's nothing. And so I finally got in the pivotal move here. So when black finally played a bad move, essentially, a really bad move versus just kind of bad, I finally managed to get this move in. And now I'm just winning the whole rest of the game, essentially. Now that I got out, I'm definitively out with this group. I'm claiming a bunch of this side. I did successfully split him, so he's low here. He's not going to get much here. At this point, I'm pretty definitively winning the game. Whereas if I had made the compromise earlier, which I could have seen black make this move. This would have been the earliest point to do it. I would have seen black make this move and go, I'm out, haha. At this point, black can pretty successfully just capture these stones. And with that, the game is probably closer to even, maybe even in black's favor. I'm not sure if that's in black's favor or not. But I think it's closer to even. Whereas doing it this way, if I successfully cut this off and maintain the Sente, which I do because this move black makes here is bad, and then get this move in, I'm definitively winning at this point. I have a pretty strong lead now because I didn't have to give up these stones, and I saved these stones, which I really shouldn't have been able to get away with in that situation. So, black extends down. Mistake. Let white take that stone so you don't get boxed in. Yeah, big mistake. Black has very little room to live down here. And one move here boxes black in, which I didn't take immediately because I wanted to threaten to cut those stones off. Or no, I want to just take this as like big potential. And I do make a threat to cut these stones off. Yes, it is Sente. If black doesn't respond or even tries to cut me, I would take these stones. So that's why I made this move first, because it was a Sente move. And then came back and blocks this black group in. Because black still does have room to maybe squirm around and live down here. Like, as soon as I make this move, black can probably play this move to basically connect, or at least threaten a connection in such a way that he's got enough time to make life. So this isn't urgent, whereas like blocking this side off is pretty big. So, but yeah, black should give up this stone. Black needs to get out, because yeah, black can maybe make life down here, but there's not much points for black here, and if black comes down, black gives white a very solid, huge potential here, which black does not want to do. And black, because this is Sente for white to do this, black needs to play a move like connecting, and then white can box black in. This is huge potential for white, and black's boxed in. So black doesn't want that. So black should see this and go, okay, take it, and like get out, essentially, is I think what black wants to do. Black can play here again. White probably extends again. And then black comes up. That's probably black's line here, I would say, is take this twice, and then, is this better? There's maybe some Aji black can take advantage of here. I guess white can do this immediately, though. There's still Aji, so maybe there's merit to the Tiger Mouth, but it's probably better to just solidly connect here. And black's out, can probably make a second eye out here, and there's definitely one eye down here. And so, and black's eating into this potential already by proxy, and the potential of white doing anything more here. So black definitely wanted to get out here, like, right away. Let me keep this stone. It's not huge. But black didn't do that. Black just came down. And so black connected and got a decent amount here, but didn't get as much as I got, and I got to seal black in. So that's big. That's real big. Black comes over there. I turn, which of course I'm going to. Black should have done this before black got boxed in. And then black makes me connect. And I think these moves aren't necessarily wrong. There are bigger places to play, for sure. But if black wants to play these moves now to set up some kind of Aji, I don't think that's inherently a mistake. I think this move, though, is a mistake. Your group on the bottom isn't alive yet, making this group heavy also gives white a great excuse to build on the right. If you're not going to protect your bottom group, you should be launching an invasion on the right. Yeah. So that's the idea here, is if black wants to get these Aji moves in now, there is potential for them to do some stuff, especially like this one. Maybe black wants to ignore this and just come in here right away, or just come down here and make this connection right away. Either one's probably what's bigger. This is probably bigger. Coming in here, I assume, is bigger. But to be safe, he might want to come here. I'm the kind of player that'd be like, I want to be safe. I'm bad at like living like this, so I'm just going to make this connection immediately. And this can still be cut, by the way. It's not a true connection, but it gives enough tempo to make life here. Because if black tries to connect like this, caught. Still, it gives enough tempo to make a living-ish shape. Still, one reason black may not want to do this is, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about this now. If black, comes down here to make some kind of life, I would have to come down again, and then black would have to protect this, which would give me like a clamp over here. And black still lives over here, but the clamp is annoying. And I do get a little more. So either I get this clamp here, which is what black should give me, or black like protects against the clamp immediately. In which case I come over here and kill these stones, because if black sends me this way and black tries to protect, it's like 4 liberties to 3. And so, yeah. The idea is that there's a big cut here, so black may not want to do this move immediately for that reason, so probably black just comes in here. But anyways, yeah, there's a big move down here for both of us, but there's kind of a good reason to not do it for both of us, if that makes sense. Because, like, black can lose these stones in trying to live with these stones, and so that's why there's a reason for black to not want to maybe try to live with these right now. But there's a reason for me not to come down here either, and that's that the exchange, like, it kind of ends in Gote-ish. Now, of course, I have to respond to these moves. But then as soon as white plays here, there's, like, merit to maybe just playing down here immediately, which is a move I get in, and it's still big. It's a really big move. But the thing is that, like, if I'm trying to take, the ideal way for this circumstance to go is for me to either get a lot of this and kill black, or, that's the ideal, but if black protects, I should be able to take these stones. And if I take these stones, that's a lot. And then black has to struggle to live with these stones. But it's like a Gote exchange. And so if there's something bigger that I feel is more urgent, I should do that. And so that's why I didn't do this immediately. Also, I don't think I saw it immediately, but more like I'm giving an excuse to why I didn't do this kind of move immediately. I didn't actually read that out. I just thought, well, this looks big. Let's do this first. That's probably right. Because at the moment this move is Gote, but keep an eye on this move because things change. But yeah, so black does this. This is really bad. This is really bad. Like I already said, these moves, maybe setting up Agi for later is fine, but this move is awful, terrible, really bad, terrible. Black is just making a group in the middle of nowhere. Gives me a great excuse to build here. I didn't play that move. What did I play? Oh, right, I took the free Atari first, of course. Because if I didn't, that's another move Black could have just gotten in at any time, which would have, it would have just helped Black a little bit more to set up something like that. So, to prevent that, I took the free Atari. I made sure this would never be an I as well. And then I got this down here. And this is threatening to be a lot. So white wants to deal with that, but also white needs to make sure these black stones in the middle of nowhere are alive. They can probably run over here, but if I make a bunch of territory in the meantime, which I do, then it's really bad for black. Like, black doesn't want these stones in the middle of nowhere that are just acting as a reduction. It's too soon for that. There's still like this that you really don't want white to become a big thing. Now that you've already set up this Aji, I think connecting here is also a mistake, to be honest. But I mean, this was the initial mistake that made the group heavy. Like now that, you've set up these Aji stones, just come down here, make an invasion. Maybe you do something with these stones. Maybe like can help with the invasion. Maybe a threat of boxing these white stones off helps with the invasion. Because these white stones definitely need to be careful about living. Now, I guess there's the idea that I can cut these stones off, and that's true. Although this one, I'd have to like extend, and then, I'd still cut this one stone off. I can probably kill one of these groups of stones if he tries to jump down here, but it lets him live, and he gets some Sente moves, like because I'm cut off with these Aji stones he put in place. So there's merit to these Aji stones, but like you don't make this group heavy. Don't make this into a big thing, because then I'm just gonna come down over here, and that's really bad for you. Okay, so I take the free Atari. I take a big move over here. White can cut that. Right, I don't cut this, but I can cut that. Mistake, cut that, yeah. This group needs to make sure it's connected over here to be alive. And so black's probably just trying to desperately cut this off. But it doesn't work. I can come down here and pretty easily live, but also I can just cut this stone off. This cross Hoshi, though. Cross Hoshi, cross cut, definitely bad. Using this stone as a sacrifice does give your group shape, but it lets white build a lot in exchange, and you still aren't alive, so it's a bad trade. Black's idea here may have just been to completely cut my group off, and from that perspective, sure, works. It's fine. I mean, it didn't work. It failed. But from the perspective of hopefully I screw up, sure, it's fine. But black, when white blocks like this, black should probably do something like the Hane here, I think, and then make me maybe fix my connection. I mean, I guess I can do this and take your stone, and you can do this and force me to do this, and then you can come up and force me to do this, and then you can do something like this maybe, and now you're making some kind of shape somehow, and you maybe jump down there. I don't know what's correct. But the cross cut is definitely not the correct thing, because I can definitely take this stone. And cutting me off here doesn't work, because I just extend down. And this means I have a monkey jump into your group for later. It's not really a monkey jump that works because of the way I played it, but... And then I connect. And then black connects there. And then I play this move to connect. This is a great juicy move, because he can't cut me, because boom, boom, boom. Now, it's true in the prospect that, oh, what if I screw up and do this? Then this would be really good for black, because black can play... Black can, like, what does black do? Black can do this Atari, and then if I connect, black can connect? Is that the idea? Or does black connect here? Black would have to connect here, and I would play this, and then black would play this, and then white would take, right, and then black would cut me off, and then these stones would die. And so, if that was what black was going for, kudos, but you failed because I was smart and played correctly and defended correctly and managed to connect up. This move, this is an interesting move. This gives black some eye space, but it also does something, it has a big threat that neither of us saw. I don't know if my opponent ever saw it. I never saw it. But like looking through it in the review, this is a big threat. And when black plays this, there is an urgent move that I should play to prevent black from playing a certain move that black never played, but there's a certain move I should play, and I don't play it, and I got lucky that I never got punished for it. I think I'd still be winning, but it would have been a lot closer if black got in the big move. So, mistake. As soon as black played p10, o2 became a huge move for me. I should play it immediately. So, we've talked about this. o2, right? This is the move that, like, if I do this, this black group, like, it like could die. And if he defends it, I probably take these stones. It's a really big move. But the reason I didn't play it before is because it's kind of Gote-ish if I want to actually take the stones. And taking the stones is probably the correct way to do it. And so that's why I didn't do it before. I mean, in theory. In practice, I didn't do it before just because I was doing whatever I thought the biggest move was. And I thought the biggest move was to harass this group. And that's not really true. It's true I get a lot from this, but the reason that this is now huge is that before, if black tried to come in and do this connection here, I talked about this, that if black wanted to connect, it's not great either. It kind of makes some sense for black to ignore this, because, like, black can, even if white comes down and tries to disrupt things, black can make life by sacrificing these stones. And if black tries to come immediately, if black tries to come immediately here, I can still disrupt this, and it's kind of bad. So it's kind of bad for either one, or rather, it's really good for me if I come here. It's just Gote for me. Whereas black doing this, it's probably Gote-ish for black as well, and it's still not great for black, so better to leave it. So for both of us, it was kind of better to leave it until this move. This move changes everything. Now, on my end, nothing changes. This will still play out basically the same if I make this move. The difference is that for black now, this move, N3, has now become, and black mistake. Now that you've played P10, you can play N3, and Sente should play it immediately. Yeah, this is now Sente for black. This stone, this sealing, this removing one liberty from this group changes a lot. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So, like, I've already, like, shown you roughly, I showed you how this black group died, later on in the game, when when black defends from the wrong side. But here's what happens when I don't make the move. When black says, okay, you didn't defend against the threat I made with this move, I'm gonna play here. So, first of all, it's Sente. I have to respond somehow to this move. If I don't respond at all to this move, first I'll show you what happens there. That's really bad. Because I'll threaten to cut off, then I definitely, like, can't do anything. If I extend over here, this is a double Atari, and so on both of these big groups, so that I definitely can't do that. The other option would just be that I connect immediately, or connect immediately over here. Black can just make the connection is the other thing. If I want to keep these groups separated, I can't do that anymore now. Because if black plays like this, and black just defends. Before, white would, like, do something like this, and black would connect, and then white would do something like this. Black here can set up an Atari, and then white will take, and then black here can set up another Atari. Uh-oh, dead. So white shouldn't, like, if black does this, white just needs to cower away, and then black can connect up, and then black's all connected and saves this group and doesn't even lose these stones, which is huge. I could have taken these stones. So yeah, as soon as I should just make this move now immediately, because this stone, now that this stone is here, before that stone was there, well, before that stone was there, I had to connect here, but before that stone was there, if black had made this move, things would be different. I'd have an extra liberty outside. I can still poke. If black does this, black can try to cut me off. I'll connect. Black can't play here because I still have an extra liberty. Yeah, because I'll just take this. And then, like, if black tries to connect or whatever, I just take these stones anyways. So it's all good. It's all good. We're all great because of my extra liberty. So, moving on. I play here. Black defends, though really should do this first. Then I play up. I'm making this territory bigger. Black expands the group, and I expand this group by more as I do this. And I come down, take a pivotal point here. Black tries to expand the group here by, sort of poking and prodding, which is fine, but the territory black's making is lacking, because black's on the third line over here, and I still have a poke into here. I mean, it's fine, but, like, it's not great for black the way. Like, black's kind of connecting up, which is sort of makes this good, is that black connects up while he does these pokes, but Ultimately, black values the monkey jump here more than staying connected. So I take advantage of that and do this, which is not great. Black's group has plenty of room now, and this stone isn't very important to Nuki. Yeah. This poke is important. Like, if black doesn't fix this, I can later poke in here. But for now, black's not making any territory here. And I have big potential to make big territory in here, too. And if this turns into nothing, then poking in here doesn't matter. And so having this poke for later is good. But I think there's a debate to be made that doing this would have also been good for black. Like, just give me this stone. And I wouldn't even take it immediately because it's Gote for me to take it. But still, having this connection isn't that important either because black's group does have plenty of room to run. And these stones down here probably connect over here. And so because of that, black playing in either direction is fine, I would say. But also, poking in here is not that important. Like, if I wasn't going to do this big move down here, for example, which I should be doing, because I didn't do it for a little while, even, like, just giving more strength to this group, leaning on this group again. You know, now that this group is kind of running a little bit, it makes harassing this group more preferable. So, like, expanding this group, maybe threatening to make a cut these groups off. Both of those is better than this poke, because this poke's not that important, because even if I split these groups, this group has an eye, can already make a second eye pretty easily, and he will run with it, but him running with it maybe just makes a bunch of territory here that could have been mine, so it's not a great move to do this poke, this prod right now. And black does ignore it, rightly so. What I read out was the idea where black tries to, like, block me off and connect, and in that perspective, yeah, it's really good in this version of events, in this scenario. This is really good for me. But black didn't do that. Black didn't need to do that. Black didn't do that. I was just being a silly Billy. So black extends. I do this cut. This is fine. It's setting up cutting points. Now that I cut in the first place, I think continuing here is fine. Yeah, I could have, like, again, moves over here are bigger, I think. But because I did this in the first place, it's probably fine. Black blocks. I come here. Black goes over here. This is also fine. I thought this was a mistake at the time. Because I'm like, it's not really protecting this. The real reason that this cut is not great isn't even because of the stone out here. The stone out here, I mean, it's okay. It's an okay connection. The more important problem is this stone. This stone is still Aji and is still a problem, and it could have caused me big problems here, actually. And so that's why that's really the main reason why black's move over here was fine. It gives the group more room to run. It maybe connects the groups up, which is pretty good. And it takes kind of, it looks at this Aji stone. Mainly it's this Aji stone that makes playing away from this cut fine. Because I was thinking that black should just fix the cut, but I think it's fine because of this Aji stone. So I cut here. Watch the M12 Aji stone. Exactly. If it wasn't for that M12 Aji stone, I could do this cut. If we pretended that was not a problem, if we pretended that stone was not on the board, then when black does this, then it's a mistake, because then this stone helps him connect out, and he has to connect out. So in that sense, it's also, like, fine, but he's still kind of more cramped and has no Aji to take advantage of, right? So, I mean, this is also pretty good, which I'll get to. But in this scenario, he definitely wants to connect, though, because there's not really much Aji. But yeah, because of this M12 Aji stone, like, this cutting stone is gonna be fine, but, like, the thing is, the cutting stone will be fine, but it doesn't really work because of this stone. Now, he never ended up taking advantage of this stone, but because this stone exists, this cut ends up being bad, which you'll see. I'll show you. I ended up spotting what would make it bad before my opponent did, thankfully. And thankfully I spotted it, yeah, because I spotted it first, it ended up being fine, but it could have been bad. I still would have been winning, and I do make a couple more mistakes throughout the game, but none of them are enough to change the advantage to black's favor, but I extend down, black pushes me, I play here, black connects, and all this is fine. And then I extend here, mistake, black gets 2 free Ataris this way instead of just 1, yeah. So I was thinking, oh, if I play here, black gets an Atari, and then I connect. But it's worse the way I do it. I didn't really think about it, but if black plays here, it's still an Atari, and I play here, black plays here, it's still an Atari, and I have to connect. Now black sealed me fully in, whereas in the other variation, where I just take, black would have to take another move and give me Sente back to seal me in. And it leaves worse cutting points, because would be 2 stones instead of just 1 stone. So, yeah, just taking would have actually been better there. But anyways, I did not take. I extended out. And black, yeah, this is a mistake. J11 followed by J12 is Sente, and then L8 is a kill move, correct. So yeah, black, I showed you this earlier, but black gets this. And then, this is a kill move, which I spotted in the game, but I spotted it later. So here's the problem. Up until about here, up until here even, I'm fine. So if black goes for the kill move now, which is L8, that's the kill move, because if black plays L7, I just extend out, and then black can play this, and I can connect, and then black can play this, and then I go, oh no, but I just connect, and I'm fine. I just take, I mean. However, if black plays this, I have to go here to avoid dying. I can also just take, and then black does this, and I connect, and I die. And obviously I can't do that, right? And so when black does this, I do this. And I still have 2 liberties over here. So this is still kind of okay. It's a little messy. Black might play something like this, which would force me, this would be a snapback, so I'd be forced to take. And then black might play something like this. And if I go here, I die, so I have to take. And then there's no snapback, and then black would play like something like this. And then, you know, then I'm kind of cramped, and black got a bunch over here. But the point is that so far it's not a kill move yet. It's still maybe an okay move, but it's not a kill move yet. The problem was that as soon as black got this move, and this is why the cut here is bad, actually, for white. It's bad because I end up getting in a situation where I'm Atari'd here, but it's also a threat of a kill move down here. Now, ignoring this threat of a kill move is actually fine. Having these white stones over here to give me influence over here is still fine. So it's not like, it's only a mistake in the sense that I'm trading this for this, basically. But if I protected this first, this is what makes this a mistake, right? If I had protected this first, if I had just done this, this is actually probably the better move. If I had done this, then this kill move is no longer a problem, because when I connect over here, this spot is open. Like when I take this stone over here, I mean. And the reason this is good is that it would also get rid of the Aji. Black might even not even realize what I'm doing with this, because it gets rid of the Aji from this group to help make life here. If I do this, black has to sweat even more down here. So there'd be merit to making that move, because it sets up for a cut here, and it sets up to harass this group even better. So that's why I'd call this a mistake to make this cut now. Even though it's like, it's okay. It's probably a small mistake, really, to give up these stones and get this presence here. But it's definitely a mistake. I didn't get punished for it, though. Yeah, so I took that. That's okay. Black comes around here. Black's doing fine, I'd say, here. You know, black should have taken advantage of the Atari, but because black missed it, it's fine now. Now black still has this kill move that black can still make, but if black's not going to make that, you know, the general connection is fine. Black may have even wanted to more solidify this connection, to be honest, because black only still has 1 eye here, and this is still cuttable. I was talking about this earlier in the game, actually. The idea that, you know, this group is fine now. It's got plenty of place to go, but now there's a bunch of these stones over here, which were not here before, that came here because black tried to do this cut over here that failed. And so because of that, because black did this cut here that failed, now these stones have less room to run. So harassing these at this point wouldn't even be terrible. Harassing these first is probably better, but harassing these, like, even these moves as, like, endgame, like, is pretty strong to, like, you know, make it so black has to really sweat. Because if this is only 1 eye, and this is only 1 eye, black really needs to connect in the middle. I never did that, but that would have been okay. I don't think many of the moves I made here were bad, but that would have been a good idea, I think. So black went down there. Mistake, this doesn't protect against the L8 kill move. Yeah, I wanted black to protect the cut, and he did, but it's bad because there's still the kill move. And, you know, if black makes the kill move, this stone doesn't matter, because then these stones are fine. And these stones are all alive, which is another thing that makes this cut problematic. Now, these stones should still probably live at this point, which is why it's okay to give these stones up, and I am still winning. Like, this was a lot that black gave me. But, and these stones are still alive, so I'm still winning if black does this. And at this point, I probably just, what's the move that I would make in this situation? Probably just even take, and then maybe force black to take, and then come down here and play this if I haven't already done it. But black's alive at this point. There's like 2 stones here. This would become a lot worse, actually, because black has an easy way to defend, because now that this group is not in danger of dying. And now moves like over here become bigger, or even this move over here. But point is, black still has that kill move, so this stone, it doesn't make, that was my thinking, is that, oh, it threatens this cut, and it makes more territory for me. But if he takes this kill move, it's not really making any territory, and it doesn't threaten the cut. So that's why it's a bad move there. Black protects. This protects the cut. It's fine, though I could still lose these stones. Because if black does this, and I do this, which is what I do, this is what ends up happening, black can do this cut. And with this cut now, these stones are in Atari. If I don't want to lose them, I have to take here. But then black can extend, and then these stones are in Atari, and then I can extend, and then black can extend, and they're still in Atari, and then black can go here, and then black can go here, and then I can turn. And, you know, this is a double Atari, as you can see here. And so, like, if I turn, black saves these stones, and that's not great, because that means these stones all die, so I cannot let that happen. And so instead what I have to do, sorry, that's not what happened. Instead what I have to do when black does this, if I come down here and do this, if black does this and I extend, black does this and I extend, and black does this, I would have to like take these stones or something like that. And I could even let black take here, which is pretty good for black. I didn't write what black did as a mistake, because black ends up playing here. And I don't write that as a mistake. And the reason I don't is because it helps this group out a bit more. Because if black does this, and I recognize the problem, I can still, like, give up these white stones. This group is not necessarily dead yet, so I can still give up these white stones. And so what I probably just do instead is I force black to take. And I don't know, something like that. It would be, I don't know the best way to do it. Maybe like this would be forcing black to take. And then I can come back to harassing this group more, as opposed to letting black extend. It's still not great to let him take those stones, but again, it's like a sacrifice I might make if black makes this cut. Alternatively, yeah, like it's unelegant. It's unelegant this way, this move here, but that's what makes this move, initial move here, to protect the group so bad. But, you know, black missed that. Black came on this side, which is okay for black, because it pretty definitively connects black up. So it's harder to kill black at this point, because he's pretty definitively connected up, and he should have an eye here and an eye here. And so that's what makes this move okay for black. Whereas if black did this instead, I can more easily harass this group up, because I can maybe cut these groups off, which is a thought I had. So that's maybe what I would have went for if black went to take these stones. And then this group might die. And so that's why it's okay for black to play, I'd say, the way black did, especially if he was worried about living. This move is okay. I didn't write it down as an objective mistake, because there is, like, if black doesn't play there, and I, like, do a poke, black can probably just block me off. I can maybe cut black off, and maybe that's a problem. If black's worried about that, and I can't blame him too much for being worried about living, because, like, I'm not the greatest when it comes to living, this probably works out pretty okay for black. I think this works out pretty fine for black, so maybe it was an unnecessary safety stone, but I can respect the unnecessary safety stones. Granted, black is losing, and in that respect, maybe black should not have done this. Because if you're losing and you recognize you're losing, you should be playing more aggressive moves and not safety moves like this. This is the kind of move I could be making if I just want to play safe because I recognize I'm winning. Black shouldn't play this way. So in that respect, it's a mistake. And then I finally get in this big move, and it's a big move. It's a big move. It's been a big move for a while. Oh, big mistake. You need to ensure that your group on the left has life. Yeah, big mistake. Because let me assume what black was thinking. Black probably saw that if he defends here and gets life with this group, these stones die. Because if I cut him off, because black will come here, right? And then black wants to make eye shape, so black comes down. Uh, but then when that happens, I do this. And, if black pushes me down, then these stones are dead, obviously. So black would push me to the right. But like if black makes another move over here, the black stones just die, so black can't do that. So black would have to connect, and then I would turn, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 liberties. Black can like try to connect underneath maybe, but it doesn't work. I can just cut that off, and then these stones, they don't go anywhere, and they're just dead, and they're mine. And this is big, and then black needs to make moves over here to make sure he's not dead. And there's like a monkey jump here, which is a big problem. So really, the reality of the situation is that when I cut here, black's correct response is actually to send me this way, because I was going to lose this stone anyways, and then maybe make a move over here. Or rather, it's probably better to make a move over here, because if I don't respond to this, then black can do this and take these stones. And I don't want to give up the stones I took. So I'm going to want to respond to this and take those stones. So black has more room to live. Doesn't really have to worry about the monkey jump anymore because he gave himself more room to live. And so then black can come back over here, maybe take some Sente moves over here, and give himself some life over here. He loses these stones, but he basically has to. But that's the idea, is that black maybe saw how weak these stones were, wanted to make sure he didn't lose them. And, black needed to give those stones up. Black, like, as soon as I make this move, that's why making this move first is big, but also it's big because now that you've sealed me off, it would have been done in Sente, and I would have not gotten much out of it. Instead, when you try to cut me, what black thought is that, oh, I'll connect, and then I can start making my life over here. But it doesn't work. It doesn't work because I'm not a silly Billy. Because I know, I've seen this connection on the second line before. You're just connected when you're on the second line with this. Because if you try to take, I'll take you. If you try to cut me off, well, I'm still connected. But if you try to take, well, I'm still connected. And so either way you do it, you don't stop me from connecting. So, does black have anything here? I just connect. Black does this in Atari, actually. Ooh, that's fancy, actually. If black does it that way, that might actually have been a good move for black. I didn't think about that. But yeah, if black does this and lets me take, black forces me to connect, and I connect. Probably what this comes down to, though, is that black has to still come back and protect this, or I just take this stone. And now this is like, earlier in the game, this white group would lose any kind of capturing race, but that is no longer true. I now have like room. I can even like I can make an eye. I can crawl in the second line. And so these stones will be fine, but that might be the move for black if I was to do that. But yeah, that is a decent way for black to defend against this move, actually. But black didn't do that. Black started scrambling. Mistake, you're dead, Tanuki. Yeah, I'm going to call that a mistake. I think black is just dead here, and so any stone he plays in here is bad, because he's giving me a chance to take Sente, really. Maybe there's merit to setting up co-threats. Maybe. But it's better to save these as co-threats, because if you can get 2 moves in here and those can give you life, then wait until there's a co later on to play these kind of moves out, really. The only thing that might be okay, this is the only thing that might be okay, is if black takes this, and then, I do this to stay connected. Or even, I guess I could just do this to stay connected. Huh, that's a good point. I might even just let black have this stone. That way I would stay connected, and black would not get the free move against me. That's true. Black can't just do this immediately, because then I'm still connected. So in that perspective, that's probably what the correct response is I just do this and give up this 1 stone, and that way I'm still connected. Yeah. That's what I would do there, I think. That's optimal to make sure that black can't cut me off. I think in that perspective, black should just leave these for co-threats. I'm proud of myself for playing just coming straight down, because if I Hane and he does this, I need to defend, and that would... This, if I do this right here, this is almost kind of living, maybe. Maybe. It's almost kind of living, maybe. Oh, that looks good. Is that's living, right? Yeah, boo-boo, that looks living to me. That looks living to me. That looks living to me. Yeah. Okay, so, right, so the Hane here would have been wrong because I would have had to defend against it. So coming straight down was definitely the smartical move. Then he comes down. I come up to prevent any kind of shenanigans. He comes down, and then I do need to make this move. This is an important move because if Black plays this and I do this, this is pretty life for Black. This is living. So I connect. Then Black does these again. Leave these for later because they could be co-threats. And then this, yeah, this doesn't do really anything. If there's anything this move does, it's that it makes it harder for me to get a beneficial cutoff here, which is still possible. Like I shouldn't kill you, but I can set up good co-threats, which I do later, and then I get rid of them because I'm silly. But mistake, even if I cut Black off, it has enough room to live at this point, plus cutting Black off would take a couple more ignore moves anyways. Yeah. So my thinking here is, oh, I can cut this Black group off from these two stones, but they can just jump up here, and this group is connected, and they both have an eye each. So, like, if I want to like fully cut this Black group off from this Black group, it's like got a diagonal connection. So to get in there would be ridiculous, and he still connects like that. Like, there's no way I'm cutting like this, and Black pretty easily can just come and surround me and make profit or do whatever it wants. Like, this weakness was not a good weakness to poke at, and it also makes him closer to boxing this in and forcing me to play this move. So at this point, it would have been better to, again, expand this, or come down here and start like threatening, that kind of stuff. Even coming down here to prevent this monkey jump. Those are the kind of moves I should be making right now, as opposed to this silly nonsense. Mistake, wrong direction. This gives Black some forcing moves. Yeah, because Black will play here, and then I basically have to connect or Black cuts me off. Whereas in the other variation, well, I think it was a mistake to come in here in the first place. If I come up, Black doesn't really have any extra forcing moves here. Like, Black can come up with me, and I can come up, and White should be able to connect either here or here. Like, if Black prevents this connection, then I should be connected over here. And this just kind of turns into a bunch of nothing territory. Whereas when I do it like this, Black's got its sights on more territory here now, and I'm forced to connect. So it was bad jumping here in the first place, and I went in the wrong direction. Black gets some eye potential. Mistake, slow. Again, yeah. These second line moves are becoming pretty big at this point. Going to a third stone here, threatening to cut these stones off. Coming down here, these are all, bigger moves than this move. Because, if I could ladder this stone, then fine. Like, if Black had potential to, turn this, what am I saying? If Black had potential to, turn this into all territory, but I have a look in here anyways, and then this white stone is looking in here as well, so Black's not getting much in here. So taking this stone doesn't do much, and I don't even take the stone, because, there's no ladder. Black will get away. Black already got away, actually, but Black can even keep getting away fully. If there's any merit to this move, it would be the idea that I chase him this way, and he goes this way, and the threat is, oh, I could cut you off, but he can still turn, come down, he blocks, and then eventually I probably need to come back and connect anyways, and then Black gets this kind of move, and it's so yeah, slow, bad. This has bad follow-up, and this isn't a good real ladder, so not important. Yeah, this was a bigger move that Black made here, for sure. Defended. Then I came out here. Finally make a real move. This does, give me some territory. And it prevents Black as he was increasing his territory. Black goes there. That's pretty good because it cuts off this stone. Or it would, but Black played badly. So this would cut off this Black stone here. Yeah, because if I try to play in here, Black just takes. And if I try to play here, Black plays here and fills, and I'd have to connect, and then Black's already connected, and these stones get caught. So, this is a good move for Black, but I block it off, correctly taking all this as mine. This cut doesn't work if White plays correctly. Yeah, so this cut does not work. What I initially write out is, well, if he comes down, I play this with Atari, and if he connects, I have 5 liberties and he's got 4, so I'm winning. And I was correct, but I won wrong. So here's the critical weakness that here's the weakness that black exploited that I didn't really see. First of all, when I come down like this, I need to play b13 to kill those stones. Yeah. I'm not changing my liberty count at all. I thought I want to give myself some more wiggle room, so coming down on this side's probably better. But there's no more wiggle room. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 liberties. My liberty count does not change. If I play this, there's still 5 liberties over here. But here's the key difference, the important key difference. Black's on the second line here, and black's on the second line here, whereas black's only on the third line here. So if I want to prevent this second line connection, I play here. And that way black cannot, black can't make any kind of connection here. And black does not kill me in time, that's for sure. And so black will die. There's really no kind of funky business black can do here. Well, actually, wait, hold on. If black does that move, white would do, what would white do? What does white do if black does that? Something like, this move. Black connects to this move. I do this. And then black has to extend. And then I extend. And black would keep extending. Yeah, that's one way this could turn out, actually. Is that if black does this, I pull back and black connects. I have 3 liberties. Black would have 2. So black has to keep going. And then eventually, black keeps going too far. Uh-oh. SpaghettiOs. Oh, look at what's happening now. What is happening now? It's bad. I got him. I winged him. I did the wing. Yeah, so he can't get away. That was maybe black's best chance, but it doesn't work on that side. The fact that this is on the third line versus second line is what makes the difference. He can connect here on the second line using a first line, like monkey jump-ish type connection. On the first line and second line, these knight moves are very good for connecting. So that was the mistake, and then my white stones were pretty much just dead. So, rip in pieces. I made some mileage out of it. I did what I could. This was me trying to maybe see if I could make mileage with this group. It ended up amounting to nothing, so this move would have been better. It would have accomplished the same thing, but made sure he could never make this point. But I didn't do that. I think it's fine, whatever. And yeah, I'm trying to do something with these stones. It doesn't work. And I finally abandoned them correctly. I can't be wasting too much time on these stones when I'm already winning. Black makes another mistake. I can cut those off. Because maybe what black was seeing is that, oh, if black cuts me off, black can just like run and maybe surround these stones, but it doesn't work because I would kill these. And black probably realized that after I cut, which was too late. So I was able to defend. And from here, it's just endgame. I got a cut in here. I don't think this is wrong. If any kind of ko comes up, which it's pretty late in the game, so maybe none will. But I don't think this cut is inherently wrong. It doesn't work out. But at this point, I should play away. Also, I kind of played away, but that's a monkey jump. And yeah, this monkey jump doesn't work because this is a vital connection point. And I can't afford to lose this vital connection point. So I had to play here at furthest. Though I think even playing here is just better. And then black will play here, and I can play down, and then black will play here. And then I will connect, and then black has to respond to this. Or he's dead because of these stones from earlier. So playing these stones has value. It turns this into Sente endgame. And so black would play something like this, probably. Yeah, and then I would be able to get this move in for free, and then there's still moves over here. So it would have been Sente-ish. It would have been pretty good because of these stones. So these stones had value. But instead, I was a dingus, and I monkey jumped from a vital connection point, which just, you can't do that. It's too far. So I had to block that off. Mistake, I can't kill this group, leave these for co-threats. Yeah, this group is unkillable. I really needed to be able to just recognize that. I was floundering here. I wanted to make use of these stones, but I need, in a moment like this, I just need to stop, leave these, and say, okay, if a ko comes up, these could be good. But, you know, as they are, I got rid of most of the potential for co-threats. I had like one more potential. I left like one more potential. But like, look at all these moves that black needed to respond to. Like if some kind of ko came up. This is a ko threat factory. If some kind of ko came up, boom, that's a ko threat. You can't ignore that. Let's see. Boom, that's a co-threat. You can't ignore that. Like it just goes and goes. Boom, that's a co-threat. You can't ignore that. Can black ignore this? No, definitely not. No, 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 no. But yeah, these are a bunch of co-threats, and I threw them away by playing them all out because they led to nothing. Now there's like one co-threat. That one co-threat is this, and black just takes. So, is there any other co-threats here? I guess I could play this first, but black just takes. So, again, it's like reducing the number of co-threats, which is bad. So I should have left these here. Anyways, though, then I play over here. Black gets that move in, which is probably bigger than the move I played here, but yeah, it's fine. Mistake. This isn't leaving a clear weakness for white, so it's just shorting your own liberties. Yeah, this group is like, it's pretty fine at this point. It's basically all connected through. There is a bit of a wall in the way, but he should capture these. But definitely shorting your own liberties in a situation like this is bad. The only reason to do it is if you're planning to cut. But there's no good cut here because this is already a tiger's like eye type thing. And there's no good cut here. So this isn't really a good cut because there's like a stone protecting here. So it's a wasted stone. Mistake, you're just playing in your own territory. You can even Tanuki here. Yeah, so black's probably, my thought too was like, maybe does black have eyes? But he had eyes. He's fine. Like, if black Tanukis and plays this first, then, like, black can even come back and play this. And if white tries to cut you off, you'll connect. And, like, there's not really any shenanigans here. White could play this. You would just play this. You're all connected through. You have one definitive eye here. White needs to stop you from making a second eye, but, like, how does white do that? Because these two stones probably become an eye. White needs to save them. But then black will be like, okay, you got 2 more liberties. What's she gonna do? And black still has a bunch more. And like, there's nothing to be done. White can like play here. Black will play here, and it's just over. This is an eye. Black has the eye here. So there's just nothing here. Black did not need to play another move here. It's too easy for black to capture these stones, which means this is an eye, and this is connected, which means this is an eye. So black's fine here. Black did not need to play here. These are all not real moves. Yeah, black didn't need to play here. My move is okay. I mean, it takes away 1 point. There are bigger moves. This up here is bigger, but, it's okay. And then I play it. Yeah. I don't know if this cut leads to anything. There's a lot of cuts. I can respect black respecting my threat of a cut. I think if black doesn't respond, then maybe there is something here. Maybe. But I don't know. Hard to say. Hard to say. I can respect black respecting that. I don't want to read it all out. I think that is a respectful one. This, though, is less needed. I force, and then I block. I really should not do this yet. I should just do this. This is bigger. To be fair, this is Sente, but it's like co-threat Sente, and it doesn't make me any points, and it shorts my own liberty. Because if we do get into co-threat, to be fair, co-fight, then, black can end up using this later on as a co-threat. So it's like not even, I guess it's like a whatever thing. It's a thing I felt like doing, but it doesn't give points to either player. So, could have just left it as Dame. Mistake again, you're just playing in your own territory. B15 is the last point, and I take it. And that's the game. How long did this one run? This is the first review that I've went in expecting it to be its own video, so it probably went way longer even than the other reviews up until now. I really, do get into these reviews, and yeah, I'm probably going to make these their own videos from now on. But yeah, see you in the next game. I'll probably do game review on a bi-weekly basis, so doing these reviews, I think, is kind of helping my play. But because I'm almost 9Q. I've not been 9Q yet on OGS. I've been like in the 10Q, 11Q fluctuation range, but I'm close. With one more win, I might get there. So maybe next game, I might just get there live on, not live, but like live on recording. See you then. Or I might lose. We'll see. All my recorded games so far have been wins, which is like not on purpose, by the way. It's not like I've cut any losses. Just all the ones I've recorded have been wins. So eventually that streak will break, but we'll see.